in astrology, there's this beautiful multi-layered dimension to the divine feminine. So like we said earlier, there's the moon, of course, representing the mother, but another this is not a planet or a luminary per se in astrology, but it's called the Black Moon Lilith, which is an angle in the sky, and it speaks about the dark phase of the moon. This is literally the darkest phase of our lunar entity, if we want. And Lilith in mythology is said to be the first woman who came before Eve. So this was a woman who was not made out of a man. This is a woman who was independent, who was doing her own thing. Yes. And in astrology, this Black Moon Lilith can sometimes indicate to us how we act or how we are when we are wounded. The word sin has a religious connotation, but it's not like that. It's more how we are when we are feeling wrath, feeling that primordial anger and frustration in a way. This is our dark side. And I feel that most of the times where the Black Moon Lilith has an impact on us, it is, like you just said, when we don't listen to our moon. And this energy can sometimes, play out in some people's lives dramatically if they do not listen to their moon. I'll give the example with my own chart. I have my moon in Libra. So I have a Virgo sun, my moon is in Libra, and my Black Moon Lilith is in Leo. So when I do not listen to my moon, which is saying to me, be in harmony, find harmony, calm down, be harmonious, be aesthetic, find, diplomacy and ways to ease your, talk your way through your emotions, calm down, be the peacemaker in your own life. This is what my moon is telling me. And when I'm not living through that principle, when I'm not allowing my moon to shine bright, of course, in a healthy way, not in a people-pleasing way, in a healthy manner, sometimes I will fall in my ego because my Black Moon Lilith is in Leo, and Leo is linked with this idea of feeling ourselves. But when it is linked with the Black Moon Lilith, it can manifest itself as being centered around the self, or feeling like, okay, I have to do this, I have to make this happen for myself, or else no one else will. I have to fend for myself, this is my territory, the Leonesque way, in a way of guarding the territory.
Competitive.
Exactly. And because of this understanding, like, this is what I love about astrology, is that when you start learning about these placements within us, you understand that there is a message, there is a beauty in learning that, okay, at my worst, this is how I can be, but I also have a best, and I can choose which one I would rather lean towards, not to shame or to suppress my worst, because that worst is helping me in certain ways. Like if someone fights me in the street, I guarantee that my Black Moon Lilith is gonna, come up and fend for me. But what I'm trying to say here is, when we understand the moon, it is really, really primordial, because it can help us get rid of certain aspects that can show up unexpectedly, either through our birth chart for the people who are interested in astrology, or if we just want to be general, when we are in denial about who we are, we can sometimes be, a-holes. We can be complete a-holes. So, yeah.
I love that. You're just amazing. I never heard of the Black Moon Lilith. So would that be similar to the Dark Night of the Soul?
Not really. It is
okay.
More it's really more about our chaotic nature. Sometimes the Black Moon Lilith is not all bad. Like I'm not saying that the Black Moon Lilith is the worst we can be, but it
Is it
does
an archetype? I don't really understand what it is then. It's not a
it's
phase. It's not a
it's an angle. Actually, it's calculated through the moon's position in your birth chart, and it's like the ascendant. The ascendant is the eastern horizon the minute you were born, and the Black Moon Lilith is an angle calculated with the moon's position. So
it's an aspect. It's an aspect of your birth chart.
Yes, it's a point. It's like a point in your birth chart, and it falls in a certain house, in a certain
everyone
sign.
Has it. Okay.
Exactly. Everyone has it. And it's not really an active, because it's like a minor point in our birth chart, but it does express itself sometimes, and it represents the archetype of the dark feminine. This is the
shadow.
Exactly, the shadow side. For me, it's literally the shadow side of the moon, because you mentioned that earlier. It's that which we do not want to face. We don't want to face that shadow most of the times, but learning about it can be interesting and help us maybe make peace with that side of us.
Okay, so would you say that that's something then, since it's determined by your birthday, time, place on your chart, would it be something, Fatima, that is inherent at birth, regardless of what happens to you in your life? Because I know our shadows which we all have, can be aspects of us that, because of life situations, has created a shadow aspect of you. Or in another way of saying a shadow is something you're repressing, right? Like, okay, I hate the fact, let's just say I'm prejudiced, or I'm whatever, I don't know, whatever I am that I don't like about myself, and I'll just repress it. Or let's say I grew up, I was homosexual, I liked women, and I was strict Catholic family, and that was a no-no, a big sin, so I repress it, so that becomes my shadow. So is the Dark Moon Lilith aspect of us something that's inherent, or is it something that's learned through life experience, that shadow?
That's an interesting question, but I think in astrology, the thing is, there's many shadows. Like, we have many shadows. The ones you were mentioning about life situations or suppressed feelings, I think that's slightly different, but I was more talking about the shadow of the moon aspect, the intuitive, the receptive side, all of the archetypes linked with the mother, the moon as the mother, and each shadow directly, it's like Eve and Lilith. But of course, there's many other places in our, of course, even our sun can have shadows. Like, we forget that, but our sun can express itself through its shadow, through its lower expression, and have the blind sides, if I may say blind, how we say blind, blind sides, where the energy is not really being filtered. It's slightly changing depending on how we express it. But no, the Black Moon Lilith is more, in my opinion, the dark side of the moon, of our moon, and sometimes an energy that we quite literally do not like in us, and sometimes don't see or understand. So maybe it will, not maybe, but I'm having a hard time finding my words.
You try to repress it because you don't like it about yourself, is what you're saying?
Sometimes when we suppress this energy, it's like a bottle. It's like, if you keep the genie in the bottle, someday it's gonna burst. blow out, exactly, burst. But when we understand this energy, it is not something we suppress. It becomes a source of power. The Black Moon Lilith is also linked with magic, as an example, or power. This is the womanhood, the mother who is not bonded with, who doesn't have an obligation to be with her children, but who chooses, like you said earlier, with the moon, and having to deal with these choices. The moon as a mother has a biological link with whatever she creates, whether it's a real baby or a project or a love relationship or whatever. She is bonded with that. So there is a codependency at times, while the Black Moon Lilith can help us see beyond, like what does this help me with? Is this something that can help me grow as an individual? Is this something that I can use for myself? Not, it sounds selfish, but it's really not. It sounds like that because, well, in society, everything that is sentenced or phrased in a way that serves the self is meant to be selfish. But the Black Moon Lilith is not afraid to be selfish. And I think finding a balance between those two, yes, I do have to be a good mother, I do have to protect people, but at the same time, I do have to protect myself too. I think those two energies have to be reconciled at some point.